to camp? Yeah, I was, yes.
Let's start on the back, please. Any requests for today?
Yeah.
You got it. Anything specific?
Lower back.
Neck, lower back and neck. Okay.
Okay, that's around the knees.
And the knees. What are you feeling in your low back?
Exhaustion.
Oh, okay.
You know, sitting like this.
Yeah.
At home, and then I try to get up. And
Yeah.
It's everything, and it's, it's like, okay, I gotta straighten this up first because it hurts a little.
Okay.
And then it's fine after a minute.
Got it. Okay. So we're going to begin on the back. Please have your strap within reaching distance. You are welcome to cushion underneath the back of the head. Feel free to move around a little bit here. You can rock, you can roll. Just noticing how the body feels at this moment in time. When you're ready, settling into a still position, you can have your legs extended or you can bend the knees, bringing the soles of the feet to the floor. You're going to bring your hands to your low ribs. And take a few moments just to use your fingers, your hands to explore the shape of the rib cage. And see if you can determine the direction of the rib cage, the relationship of the rib cage to the floor. I will expand upon it. Don't worry. So I think it was last week, perhaps on Thursday, where I spent a lot of time talking about stacking the rib cage over the pelvis. And for most of us, if you think about the relationship between the ribs and the pelvis, the bottom part of the rib cage, I'm going to start this sentence again. The rib cage is tipped in a manner that the bottom of the rib cage kind of opens forward. And of course, this is in addition to the shape of the rib cage, where the front of the rib cage opens higher than the bottom of the rib cage. But the body can kind of exaggerate that more, and the lower part of the rib cage opens. In this case, since we're on the back, the lower part of the rib cage opens to the ceiling. And then the pelvis will tip in the opposite direction. So the rib cage and the pelvis are both tipped. They're tipped away from each other in a way that opens the front body, the belly, and compresses the back body, in particular the low back. And many of us will feel that more if you extend the legs. So if your knees are bent right now and you just reach out through the legs, you may really feel the opening, the lengthening of front body, and the compression of back body, the low back. This is exaggerated when we're laying on the floor, but it's similar when we're standing. The reason why it tends to be exaggerated when we're laying on the floor is due to the shape of the glutes and the flesh on the back body pressing your pelvis to the ceiling a little bit more. Is this making sense? Okay. Please tell me, do not hesitate to tell me if it doesn't, because I can use other words. I can describe it in a different way. So just rebend your knees, bring the soles of the feet to the floor. You can readjust the pelvis. And with your hands on your front ribs, now can you sense the relationship of the ribs to the floor, and that the low ribs kind of tip up towards the ceiling? Does that now make sense? Okay. And you may even feel that the low ribs are kind of expanding out of the body without a whole lot of effort. I don't want you to squeeze. I don't want you to like lock your muscles down, but I want you to start to allow for the low ribs to kind of release and drop down into the body towards the floor. And what does that action do to the pelvis? So the activity, the action in the ribs isn't isolated. When you try to move the rib cage, it will automatically adjust and move the pelvis. And you can engage, you can find it and release. I want you to kind of play with it a little bit. The movement may feel really similar to doing a pelvic tilt. But instead of initiating the movement from the pelvis, you're initiating the movement from the rib cage. That is a really good question. I want you to, at this moment, explore all of it. So the rib cage, I've also talked about this as like a Pac-Man mouth. So if you imagine Pac-Man with his huge open mouth, the top part of Pac-Man's mouth is the low ribs. The bottom part of Pac-Man's mouth is the pelvis. And when you close Pac-Man's mouth, you're moving the low back. So when Pac-Man's mouth is open, and you can exaggerate that for a moment, you feel the lift of the low back off the floor. You may even sense a compression in the low back. For some of you, it may be incredibly uncomfortable. I don't like the way that feels, so I always adjust it. As you start to close Pac-Man's mouth, you'll feel more length in the low back, but you may not be pressing the low back down into the floor. And then if you really close Pac-Man's mouth as if you're like Pac-Man is grimacing, the low back will press into the floor. So you've got that range there. And what we're looking to find is kind of the midway point. It may be uncomfortable to live in one end of that range. It may be uncomfortable to live in the other range. It may require some effort to find the middle. And so we build up strength, so the middle requires less effort. Does all of that make sense? I will take that as a yes. Okay, good. Release that for a moment. Step your feet wide, let your knees rock from side to side. Again, with as little effort as possible. However, either end of this range, when the knees drop to one side, the knees drop to the other side, it may feel really good to kind of engage and move a little bit deeper into that range. And I'd like for you to feel free to do that. So if there's a sensation that is interesting, please feel free to explore it. Reach your arms out like a T with the backs of the hands on the floor. And for the next few rounds, turn your head in the same direction as the knees. Noticing how this movement, this addition of the head, perhaps helps or hinders your movement. And then take a moment to reorganize. You're going to turn your head in the opposite direction of the knees. How does this pattern help or hinder the movement, the sensation? You're going to bring the legs to stillness. I'm going to keep my feet wide and then let my knees drop in so the knees are supporting each other. Continue to turn the head. The backs of the hands are on the floor. Take a few moments where you add just a little bit of a reach through the arm that you're turning towards. And this doesn't have to be, you don't have to really effort. This could be very small. My fingertips aren't even involved. It's just kind of the back of my hand sliding away. And then take a moment to reorganize, reach through the arm you're turning away from. That sensation that you may be experiencing down your arm is not really, it's not really a muscle stretch, it's actually nerves. So this activity is called nerve flossing or nerve gliding. You're going to pause, internally rotate the arm bones so now the palms of the hands are on the floor. And again, let your head turn from side to side. And I feel this more on one side. I feel it through my arm, feel it through my left arm as I turn my head to the right. And now I feel it through the forearm. And it's not a stretch of muscles. And you're welcome to add a reach through the arm your head is turning towards. And that may change sensation. Take a moment to reorganize and reach through the back arm. Externally rotate the arm bones. Continue to turn the head. We'll add the knees in the same direction as the head. The next time the knees and head turn to the left, you're going to bring your right fingertips to your right shoulder and then start to drag the fingertips across the collarbones, down the left arm, reach beyond the left. And then the hand is very heavy. Pull it back. It drags along the body. The knees, the arm reach to the right. The left fingertips drag across the body and reach. Take a few rounds on your own. Rolling from side to side. Exaggerate the reach of the top arm so that the spine has an opportunity to rotate more. Take another round or two. As you're ready, draw your knees into your chest. You can rock from side to side. Rocking forward and back. As you're ready, making your way all the way to standing. Take your time, there's no rush. When you arrive, bringing the soles of the feet to the floor. Again, let's bring the hands to the ribs. And standing as still as possible. So very little effort here. I don't want you to work too hard, but trying to remain as still as possible. And then using your hands to help you sense the relationship between the ribs and the pelvis. So maybe you are kind of palpitating. Did I pronounce that correctly? Great, thanks. The bones, so you can sense where are your frontal hip bones, where is your rib cage, can you feel your upper ribs? You notice that the back of the rib cage is lower than the front of the rib cage. How does the low back feel here? Do you sense compression in the low back? Do you have a tendency to over tuck the tailbone? And in over tucking the tailbone, the knees bend forward and it leads to kind of this rounding of the upper back. Where are you standing on your feet? Do you feel your weight in your heels? Do you feel your weight in the balls of the feet? When you're in your heels, the hips tend to move back, the torso tends to tip forward. If you find that you're standing in the balls of the feet, the hips tend to press forward. The body's always looking to kind of stack itself. So if you have one of these tendencies, the rest of the body will kind of follow. And then just take a moment, just like we did on the back, noticing that Pac-Man mouth. Can you start to close the Pac-Man mouth? So another way to think of this, if you imagine your breathing diaphragm and your pelvic floor diaphragm, the two diaphragms come to parallel. Or you're trying to stack the ribs over the pelvis. Noticing how much effort that requires, especially at this moment in time when we are still kind of tight from it's early morning, the body is still tight from sleep. So let that go. Bring your attention to your feet and then just start to rock forward and back. Allow the rest of the body to be as soft as possible. So as you rock forward and back, you are less likely to throw yourself off balance because it's easier to catch yourself. You kind of create this internal shock absorption so you can respond more easily to the movement. Can you pause on the balls of the feet, elevating your heels? With the heels elevated, yep. What do you need to do with the knees? Is it easier to pause here with the knees extended or with the knees kind of soft? And as the knees bend forward, what happens with the hips? Do they glide back a little bit? What happens with the chest? We're going to rock to the heels. This is harder. So maybe the balls of the feet are still touching the floor. Yep. But can you balance on your heels? I barely have the balls of my feet lifted. They're still in contact with the mat, but my weight is really in my heels. If I overwork the feet and then overwork the legs, I am more likely to lose my balance. So I have to soften a little bit. And then return to standing. Can you redistribute your weight across your feet a little bit more evenly? You feel your heels, you feel the balls of the feet. Let's rock from side to side. Pushing yourself with one foot and then with the other foot. As you shift to the left, can you take weight out of the right foot? As you shift to the right, can you take weight out of the left foot? Maybe you're even lifting the foot. Again, keep the body as soft as possible, as little effort as possible. If you overwork, it's actually harder. Keeping the feet on the floor, let's start to find the edges of the feet. Rocking from outside edges to inside edges. Exaggerating the movement through the ankles. Find your right edges, shift to the balls of the feet, your left edges and your heels. Let the knees move. When you're ready, reverse the direction. Good. Find the outside edges of both feet. So lifting the inside edges. And then find the inside edges of both feet. Good. Continue on your own, back and forth, pausing. Notice how the movement in the feet and ankles impacts the knees, the femurs, and then the hips, the heads of the femurs in the hip sockets. And what do you feel happening through the glutes and even the belly? And there's even rotation in the femurs. Do you feel that? When you come to the inside edges of the feet, the leg bones internally rotate and then they externally rotate. Good. Bring the feet to the floor, bend and extend the knees. How does the weight on your feet change as you bend the knees? Can you make adjustments so that the knees track forward? Bend the knees as deeply as you can, keeping the heels on the ground. Good. Bend the knees and pause. You don't have to be super deep here. Circle the knees. Reverse the direction. Keep the soles of the feet in contact, but notice that as you circle the knees, you're rolling around the edges of the feet. Good. Come back to standing. Shift your weight into your right foot. Circle your left knee. Keep your left foot on the floor. How does that impact the pelvis? You can even bring your hands to your hips. Reverse the direction. Good. Try to keep the heel on the ground. So it's going to do more to the pelvis. Good. Yeah. And then shift your weight into your left foot. Circle the right knee. Keep the right sole of foot on the floor. And with your hands on your hips, you can really feel how the pelvis turns, the pelvis rotates. Good. And then pause. With the soles of the feet on the floor, just check in. Do a body scan, noticing how the torso feels. Can you find that stack? Can you close the Pac-Man mouth? Noticing how this feels compared to the first time we did it when standing. So what I'm experiencing is that it's a whole lot easier in my lower body. My upper body is still struggling a little bit because we haven't gotten into the upper body. But the lower body feels better. So soften through the knees. Let's actually track down the strap. Holding the strap, just take a few shoulder circles here. Big and slow, not so worried yet about how this movement is impacting the rest of the body. Reverse the direction. Good. And then pause with the hands as wide as they need to be. You're going to bring the strap up and back. So if it's a challenge, hands can widen. Good. If you're making faces, hands widen. Good. And then with time, you can start to sneak the hands a little bit closer, but I don't want you to struggle through this. I don't want you to force this action. Try to keep the elbows straight. If the elbows bend, slide the hands apart. Good. Bring the arms in front of you. We're going to fold the strap in half. And the hands are going to be closer. They're going to be about shoulder distance apart, maybe a little bit wider. Start to pull the hands apart and lift and lower just overhead. Don't worry about it yet. We'll get there, I promise. Good. So an interesting thing to notice here is as the arms lift, how much does the rib cage lift and open? So the lifting of the arms opens that Pac-Man mouth. Can you lift the arms without opening the Pac-Man mouth? And you may find that your range decreases. There's no judgment. It's just natural. This is what happens. Good. Bring the hands down. Just take some circles. Let the shoulders, the arms rest. Reverse the direction. Good. And then pull the hands apart, perhaps with a little less effort for a moment. Lift and lower. You're going to lift the arms above the head and pause. Press through the feet. Pull with your left hand. Take a side bend. Stay in this side bend. Increase the effort on the right side without coming up. Good. And now come up. Let the arms rest. We're going to do the second side. Reach up. Pull with the right hand. Take a side bend. And now stay in that side bend, but now the left arm is going to work a little bit more. So you're contracting left side. Good. And then come up and rest. Does that make sense? You're going to do that again a few times on your own. Pull with the left, perhaps right away. Resist with the right. Catherine, elbows in. Yes. Pull with the right. Resist with the left. Good. One more time. Pull with the left. Resist with the right. Pull with the right. Resist with the left. Good. Come up and lower the arms. Again, you can take some shoulder circles. We're going to bring the strap behind the back. Palms of the hands face behind you. Lift and lower the arms here. Good. Very little effort to start. Become aware of the movement of the arms, the shoulders at the top in the shoulder socket, and the shoulder blades, the scapula. For the next few rounds, I want you to lift the arms by squeezing the shoulder blades. How does that impact your chest and your shoulders? Can you sense a change or a lack of change in the direction of the head of the shoulder? We've discussed this before. I'm just using different language today. And now lift and lower the arms without squeezing the shoulder blades. How does that impact the chest? Good. Try not to let the head move forward. Yep, so stay upright. Can you sense that the head of the arm bone tips forward? Yeah? You're allowing the head of the arm bone to tip forward? Is that your question? Yes. Yeah. You're allowing it to by creating some muscular tension. Really, it's muscular tension in the chest that and less. So okay, version 1. The muscular engagement was back body to squeeze the shoulder blades. There was no resistance in the chest. So to lift my arms, my arm bones moved back in space. Version 2, you've added resistance through the chest so that the shoulder blades don't squeeze. And in order to lift the arms, the arm bone literally tilts. Good. So this is something I've been trying to explain for weeks, and I haven't had the language to do so. So this looks great. Was that a question, Mary? Those are questioning eyebrows. It means muscles are working. But you may not feel, the reason why I'm not saying like engage these muscles is that you may not feel that that's happening. You may not, your brain may not be able to, Your conscious brain may not be able to communicate. Your unconscious, unconsciously, you are doing it, but that's exactly right. You have to do it. Right. But those of you who've been coming to class for a long time know that I've been trying to talk about this, and I wasn't able to communicate how to, but that's it. So you are creating this resistance, this engagement that prevents the shoulder blades from squeezing, and in order to lift the arms, you are moving from the shoulder socket, not from the shoulder blades. There is nothing wrong with doing either of these versions. Your body needs to know how to do both. But oftentimes, as we get older, one version becomes more comfortable, becomes easier, and so we stop doing the more challenging version. And we kind of create these, one of my teachers would call them like ruts. From like a tire, just going deeper and deeper into this one movement, and that's when we start to feel pain. We have to smooth out the ruts by doing more variety. Great. Let's do one more thing here. So we've done this in the past with the dowel. You're going to have the strap in the right hand. It's going to come, right elbow is going to lift. So it's right behind the back. The left hand is going to grab the strap. The more space between the hands, the more range you're going to have here. So you're pulling up and pulling down, okay? If you decrease the space, you're not going to move quite as much. Either version is fine. So whatever feels comfortable. For the first few rounds, keep the hands resting on the back. Good. Just pause for a moment. I want you to find the resistance of front body. Good, Mary. So that means the muscles are engaging. And now, maintain the resistance on front body. Can you lift the strap away from the back without opening the chest? Good. And release. Very nice. We're going to switch sides. This is that movement for someone who has hypermobility, that movement is really easy. For those of us who don't, myself included, it is very, very hard. So just pulling up and pulling down. Good. But if you think about living your life and the things that you do with your arms overhead or the arms reaching behind you, I always think about your purse is in the back seat and you go to grab it. It is that movement. And that's often when women will injure their shoulders because the bag is heavy. You reach behind you in the car to grab it. You're going to pause, find the resistance of front body, and then can you lift the strap away from the back? Continue to resist. Good, and release. Strap in the hands, hands nice and wide, lift up and back. Just notice perhaps you've got a little bit more space here. The hands can be a little bit closer. Good. And then we're just going to drop the strap. If you need to take some shoulder circles here, yeah, whatever you need to do. And then again, standing with as little effort as possible. Can you find your stack? Can you close the Pac-Man mouth? And it's probably not easy, but maybe it's easier. You have a little bit more control over your pelvis. You may have a little bit more control over your rib cage. Can you direct your breath into back body? So inhale through the nose, expanding the back ribs, the back waist. Exhale through the nose. And then as you're ready, just let the chin drop to the chest, starting to curl in on yourself. Rolling down if there is a position, if there is a moment that feels interesting, feel free to stop and breathe. And by interesting, it may feel good, it may feel awkward, it may feel uncomfortable. Continue on your way down. You can move around a little bit here. When you're ready, you're going to walk your hands forward, you're going to walk your feet back. Lower the knees, find table pose. Take some movement when you arrive. Shifting forward and back, feel free to cushion underneath the knees. Bring your weight to your right hand and then circle around your left hand. Try to bring every aspect of the hand to touch the floor. And reverse the direction. Good. Pausing, staying on the same side. Turn the fingertips out and start to shift from side to side. And then when you're ready, turn the fingertips towards the knees or moving in that direction. Joan, externally rotate the arm bone. There you go. And I'd like for you to move in the direction of the fingertips. So if your fingertips can point straight back, you're going to move in that direction. If they're pointing out a little bit, you can make this a bit easier by sneaking your hand closer to your knee. And that's going to take some of the load out of the hand. Good. Peel the hand off the floor. Turn the fingertips in. Internally rotate the arm bone. Shift from side to side. Good. Try to straighten the elbow. It's easier to straighten the elbow if you bring it like right underneath your chest. The further to the left the hand is, the harder that is. And then flip to the back of the hand. Fingertips are pointing in, again, shifting from side to side. Good. There we go. Bring your weight into your left fist. So let me make a fist. And then set the left fist on the floor. You're going to push down. Can you take weight out of the right hand? So the wrist is in neutral. We're just re-engaging. Right hand comes down, left hand comes down. We'll take the second side, circle around the right hand. Good. Reverse the direction. And then pause. Turn, externally rotate the right arm to turn the fingertips to the right. You're going to shift from side to side. You know, Heidi, I have grips. I don't know if you want to use. Okay.
Pain I have is here.
Got it.
Not my wrist.
Okay. Good. When you're ready, externally rotate the arm bone more. Point your right fingers towards your right knee and shift forward and back. And if you can't fully externally rotate the arm bone, just move in the direction of the fingers. Good. Slowly peel the hand off the floor. Still on the palm of the hand, point the fingertips in, shift from side to side. Good. Come to the back of the hand. Shift from side to side. And then come up onto the fist and pause. Press the fist into the floor. Good. Breathing here. Take weight out of the left hand, bringing more weight into the right fist. Nice job. Bring both hands to the floor. Spread the fingers wide. Take a few rounds of cat and cow. You can adjust the hands. You can adjust the knees so you're in a relatively comfortable position. Pause for a moment in your cat pose. Tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. Push through the hands to shift back. Pull through the hands to come forward. Take a few rounds like that. Coming forward, drop the belly, lift the sits bones, lift the gaze, shifting forward and back. So now you're in this cow shape, maintaining back extension. Yeah. And then pause, find neutral. So neutral is neither tucking the tailbone nor dropping the chin. You're going to feel the front body beginning to work, just enough resistance to prevent you from collapsing down. Can you maintain neutral spine and shift back and shift forward? When you start to feel the tailbone tuck, you've gone too far. You're moving towards spinal flexion. And then pause in your table pose. Remember that stack. Remember the Pac-Man mouth. Can you close the Pac-Man mouth without moving into the grimacing Pac-Man? So without rounding the spine. So the spine is neutral. That's it, Michelle. You may have to adjust the hands or the knees so you've got enough space. Good. Releasing this, take a little bit of movement, wiggle around a touch. When you're ready, you're going to step your right foot forward, coming into a low lunge. Again, feel free to cushion underneath your left knee. Have your blocks nearby. Have your strap within reaching distance as well. Shifting forward and back. For the first few rounds, feel free to use the blocks. Can you drop all the way back to your left heel, keeping your right heel on the floor? Bend the right knee as much as you can. So noticing your range, you can bring the blocks with you. That's it. Good. Michelle, if you cushion underneath your knee, and you could even like stack it or fold the blanket so you've got a little bit more cushion underneath your right hip. Good. And then finally, you're just going to stack the hips over the back knee. Before you do anything, no engagement, just breathing. Sense the stacking of the rib cage over the pelvis. Sense the Pac-Man mouth, okay? Without any effort. So you're just becoming aware of what your body does naturally. And now take a few rounds of pelvic tilts. If balance is a concern, stack the blocks underneath the left hand. So you're tucking the tailbone and untucking the tailbone, noticing what sensations arise. And then I want you to pause in that stack. So how do you get the rib cage over the pelvis? And is it with a deep tuck of the tailbone, or can you do it with just a little tuck of the tailbone? Maintain that stack. Use your right heel to pull you forward. Use your left knee to pull you back. Don't lose that stack. So if you start to move into back bend, you've lost it. You have to increase the effort in the back leg as you shift forward. Good. Releasing this takes some movement here, no tension. Is this making sense to folks? Good. Very good. Shifting forward, frame the front foot with the blocks. Your right foot is going to be on, your right heel is on the floor. Right knee is over the heel. It can be a little beyond the heel. I don't have a problem with that. In this position, find your pelvic tilt. Tucking and untucking the tailbone. It's going to be a little harder here. Yeah. You're going to use your muscles a little bit differently. And then can you find the stack? So now the stack is not upright, it's on an angle. Curl your back toes, lift your back knee, maintain the stack, and then pull the knee forward. Good. Please tell me, you're going to take that a few times. Please tell me if my languaging is not clear and you need me to try again. Good. One more time. Lift and lower. Good. Very nice. Return to upright. Take a little bit of movement. And then pause. Is it easier to find your stack now? Can you do it with a little bit less effort? Okay, take some movement, track down your strap. No, I'm sorry. Let's just switch sides. That was a long time on the left knee. So we take movement when we arrive, shifting forward and back. So essentially what we're doing here is we are stretching under tension. We are, it's not, sometimes in yoga, in like a yin class, we stretch, you hold that pose, but there's no engagement at all. You're just kind of relaxing into your soft tissue, into your connective tissue. And there's value in that. The muscles do stretch, but because it is, you're doing it just with gravity and not using any muscular strength, the tissues slowly return to their starting point. We have to add muscular strength to really change, to more permanently change the shape of the tissue, the quality of the tissue, which is what we're trying to do here. So find upright. You can stack the blocks, have them underneath your right hand, especially if balance is a concern. Take a moment, no effort, second side. It's almost like you're starting from scratch. Can you sense rib cage, the relationship between the rib cage and the pelvis? What I feel is that it's not like fully open, my Pac-Man mouth, but it's really hard to close it, okay? So take some pelvic tilts, tucking and untucking the tailbone. And you're essentially opening, closing, and then there's that grimace as you really tuck the tailbone. And now pause. Can you find your stack? Use your left heel to pull you forward. Use your right knee to pull you back. Maintain that stack. So as you pull yourself forward, your back leg has to work more. You have to increase the resistance. Good. And then pause, soften, take a little bit of movement. Give yourself a chance to rest. The rest is really important. And then take a moment, hips stacked over the back knee. Can you find that stack a little bit more easily? Good. You're going to grab your blocks, frame the front foot, shifting forward. So now the pelvis is on an angle, the back leg is on an angle. Find your pelvic tilts here. May feel a little awkward in this position. Yeah.
It feels like most of my movement is in my mind.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, it doesn't even really feel like my pelvis is moving back and forth too much,
Yeah.
other than in my head.
Okay. That's yeah. I mean,
I mean,
again,
the muscles are engaged.
Yeah.
but that doesn't.
again, I think that's the hypermobility, like just the challenge of communicating. Yeah. So with the hands on the blocks, find that tuck of the tailbone, find your stack, curl your back toes. You're going to lift your back knee without losing the stack. I mean, what you're doing looks it looks very different than what I've seen in the past. So it's working. Yeah. So lift and lower the knee without losing that stack.
So that means you're really not going up and down at all. You're just
Very,
staying-
very little.
staying
That's
pretty much
exactly
in the
right.
same place.
Yes. You are, and it's interesting because it's pretty easy. I mean, it's easier to lift the knee without lifting the pelvis, but then lowering is a whole lot harder.
Is this essentially the same thing you've done before, but you said trying to straighten your leg without lifting and lowering?
Yes. Yes. Yep. Good. So lower the knee, come back, take a moment here. Can you find that stack? Hopefully it is a whole lot easier. Good. Let's go back to the first side with your strap. Pull the strap in half. Hands are about shoulder distance apart. You're going to start with some pelvic tilts so that you can find the stack and then lift and lower the arms. And we know from when we did this standing that lifting the arms can impact the rib cage and impact our ability to stack. So as the arms lift, you have to increase the effort in the belly, increase the resistance to limit the impact. Good. Pull. Let's lower the arms to shoulder height. Pull the hands apart. Maintain the stack. You're going to pull with your right hand to rotate to the right. Pull with the left hand to rotate to the left. We're going to do that again. Good. So the chest turns. Try to keep the arms, the chest, the strap, everything moves together. So don't move the arms more than you move the strap. So Heidi, watch, be aware of this. Keep the fists right in front of the shoulders. Good. And then facing forward, take some movement. Give yourself an opportunity to rest. When you're ready, you're going to find a little tuck of the tailbone, still using the strap. Reach the arms to the ceiling. The hands pull apart, the elbows squeeze in. We're going to take a side bend, but maintain resistance. So you pull with the right, resist with the left. Pull with the left, resist with the right. Good. We're going to add to this. Pull with the right and then rotate to the right. So turn the chest towards the floor and then come up. Pull with the left, rotate to the left and come up. Do that again. So you're adding spinal flexion. One more time to the right and to the left. Good. Coming back up. Whew. Take some movement. Give yourself an opportunity to rest. So I want to do one more round here. Now we're going to add back bend. Holding the strap, hands about shoulder distance apart. Lift the arms above the head, the hands pull apart, elbows squeeze in. Decrease the effort in the arms so that you don't fatigue quickly. Find a little tuck of the tailbone. Use your right heel to pull you forward. Use your left knee to pull you back. Do it again. It's going to be hard to maintain the stack. Good. Pull yourself forward and pause. Let's rotate. So you're in a little bit of a back bend. Rotate to the right. Keep the arms lifted. And then rotate to the left. Good. Do it again. Rotate to the right. Rotate to the left, using your right heel to pull you forward. One more time, to the right and to the left. Good. That's a good question. You have to kind of prioritize. So you're losing the stack a little bit without moving into like this giant open mouth. I'll demonstrate on the second side. So it would look like, let me demonstrate once we get there. So step the left leg forward, take a little bit of movement. This is the last thing we're doing upright. So time has just flown today. Hours. Yeah, I too am exhausted. Good. Okay. So when you arrived, I didn't have the air conditioning on, but it's been on for a little while and I just lowered it, so it's going to cool down. Yeah. So reaching forward, find your stack. Lift and lower the arms. Good. So try to maintain that stack. Hands pull apart, elbows squeeze in. Good. And now lower to shoulder height. Pull with the left hand to rotate. Pull with the right hand. Good. Do it again. Nice job. Pull with the left. Pull with the right. Very nice. Release the arms. Take a little bit of movement. Stack the hips over the back knee. Bless you. Stack the rib cage, reaching up. We're now going to take a side bend. So you're going to pull with the left, resist with the right. Bless you. Pull with the right, resist with the left. That looks really good, Catherine. Yes. Yeah. And now pull with the left, resist with the right, curl in, rotate. So you start to curl down towards the floor and then come up. You don't have to overdo this. Pull with the right and then rotate to the right. Good. Come up. Strong enough through the legs so the legs don't move quite as much. And the arms move with the torso. One more time. To the left and to the right. Good. Very nice. Lower the arms. You're going to take a little bit of a rest, and I'm going to show you where we're going next. I'm going to turn this way to start, and then I will turn again. So with the stacking, rib cage over pelvis, relatively easy in this position. As I start to shift forward, I definitely lose it. The back leg starts to pull my pelvis. It tips it forward into an anterior tilt. So to maintain the stack, I have to work harder by drawing my belly in, and I can't go quite as deep. And then when I add the arms, it's even harder because I'm trying to maintain the stack and my range is really limited. And even so, I'm probably pulling my pelvis, tipping it forward into that anterior tilt. So that's the first struggle. And then we did what did we do? A side bend. So back bend and then rotation, right? So I'm pulling myself forward. I have to really use the muscles of my belly, and then I'm adding a bit of a rotation. It's really hard.
We didn't do it up.
I think at the end, did we?
Side
Oh, a side bend. Thank you. Okay. So you were up here,
Not yet.
and then and then a side bend. We didn't add a rotation in addition to
We
back
didn't
bend.
add it up.
Okay. I don't remember either. So do what you want. Yeah. Does that make sense, Mary?
No, because what you were saying before was maintain that, what is the language you use?
The stack?
The stack, and go into a bit of a back bend. So how do you?
You do that. So the way it happens is through hip extension. So you end up getting your back bend is not coming from the lumbar spine. It's coming from the hip. It's coming from hip extension. That's was a good question because that's really what we're going for. You will still feel some back extension. They're related, they're connected, but a lot of people will avoid hip extension and just do, so right now my hips are flexed and my back is extended. What you want, and this feels awful. So what you want is hip extension and then back bend on top of it. This was the problem in yoga when we used to do a bridge. I don't remember what it's called in Sanskrit, but we would tell people to soften the glutes. So softening the glute, the action of the glutes is hip extension. When I go into a back bend and I soften the glutes, I end up in hip flexion. And that's what led to my back pain. Yeah, you need to use the glutes. We got to do the second sides, and then we'll. You didn't do the final one.
Fine.
You didn't do the final one. We got to do the final one. No, we did the final one on the first side. Promise.
Right.
Your left leg is forward. Your hands are up. So this is this was coming into your back bend. So you're going to push up, elbows in. Use your find your stack. Use your left heel to pull you forward. So now you're in a back bend, and now you're adding the side bend. Sure, you can twist. Yep. And then, yep, here. And you're welcome to twist. Good. Or you're just in your back bend and you find that side bend. So Mary, use your left heel to pull you forward. Yes, yes. So it's more than just an upright side bend. Good. And then take a moment to rest. Everyone okay?
No, it's side bend on top of a back.
That's exactly right. Side bend on top of a back bend. Yeah. And then maybe even a twist. Yeah. There is a difference between this. And so right now, back bend, side bend, rotation, I'm doing all of those things. There's a difference between that and this. I'm using my whole body. So come into kneeling. Reach up. Be soft. Move the arms around. Let your hips go. Just wiggle, wobble, everything moves. Good. And now pause. Reach up. Pull the hands apart, squeeze the elbows together. Tuck the tailbone. Stack the ribs over the hips. And now move. Your range is limited. Your sensation may actually increase because now you are pulling on, you are stretching muscles that are engaged as opposed to muscles that are just floppy. That's what I've been getting at the whole time. And that action, we try to find full engagement, 100% effort sometimes in class because you can't live your life in 100% engagement. You have to, your body is, you can think of it one of two ways. Your body naturally is lazy or it's incredibly efficient. And it knows it's got, it's got to move you through the world, like 16 hours a day, and then you can rest. So it does not have the ability to work 100% effort for those 16 hours. So it will do the work with as little effort as possible. So as we build strength, you can do more with less effort. And what I try to teach here is how to do more with less effort, because what I observe is that most people who come to my classes, they've been trained, or it is, their personality to work as hard as they can when they're told to. I do think, and this is, my TikTok psychology degree, is that your generation of women were trained to work as hard as you can in everything that you do. And yes, that's from TikTok University. We're going to come to the back. Please have yours strapped within reaching distance. When you arrive, take a little bit of movement, rocking, rolling, reaching. Clasp the hands around the back of the right leg. Bend and extend your right knee. You are pressing your leg into your hands. In that manner, we are engaging the hamstring so that the stretch of the hamstring is in the thickest part, the middle, the belly of the hamstring, not behind the back of the knee, not at the sits bones. If you want to pause in a static stretch, you can. Reaching your right heel to the ceiling, you can keep your left solar foot on the floor, or you can extend the left leg long. How does this shape impact your stack? Do you lose it? For some people, when the right leg goes to the ceiling, we automatically go into spinal flexion. How do you stay out of spinal flexion? When the left leg extends to the front of the room, for some people, we move into spinal extension, which is our back bend. How do you avoid spinal flexion? Good. Let's bend both knees, crossing the right ankle over the left leg. Allow the legs to rock from side to side. As you're ready, we're going to take the second side. Extend the left leg to the ceiling, clasp the hands behind the back of the leg, and then bend and extend the leg. And here you may start to pay attention to the spine. Can you maintain the stack? Can you maintain neutral spine? And then as you pause, reaching your left heel to the ceiling, how does this shape impact the stack? Bend both knees, crossing the left ankle over the right leg. Let your knees rock from side to side. Return the feet to the floor. I'm going to keep my knees bent, feet wide, and allow the knees to fall in. If there is a position that feels better for you, you're welcome to take it. If you've got a bolster, you can bring a bolster underneath your knees here, and I'm happy to bring bolsters around. So you're going to bring the strap behind the back of the head. And I have the strap like it's around the thickest part of my head and kind of tucked underneath my ears. And you're going to hold the strap in two hands, either end of the strap, right next to the head. So you're kind of making a sling or a hammock for your head. You're going to pull with your hands to just hover the head off the floor or off a blanket. The head is very, very heavy. In fact, maybe your head is pressing into the strap. And then from here, you're going to pull with your right hand. And as you pull with the right hand, the strap is going to turn your head to the left. Pull straight up. And then pull with the left hand straight up. The head turns to the right. You're going to continue in that manner. You can experiment with how hard you pull. You can experiment with how heavy the head is pressing into the strap. You may want to adjust the placement of the hands. What happens when the hands are close to the head? What happens when the hands are further away? But try to pull straight up to the ceiling so it's less of a crunch. So let the head be really heavy. You're going to like this. Good. So watch those shoulders. Yeah, you've got a strong tendency to, yeah. Yeah. So how do you keep the shoulders soft? Yes. You're kind of trying to disconnect the head from the shoulders. We want to try and get the neck to move freely. Good. When you've had enough, please rest. If there's anything that you need to do feel free. If you need a prop, another blanket, a bolster, then just let me know, wave me down. Reawakening to conscious breath. Returning to mindful movement. In your own time and in your own manner. Making your way back to upright. Thank you all so much for joining me. Very, very good work.
Great.
Nice job.
Nice.
Thank you very much. Let me just turn this off before
You have classes next week?